Born Free, Blood Rose Nights Book 5, written by Keary Taylor, narrated by Raven Wildwood. Chapter 14. I barrel through death, defying all the laws of nature. Life funnels back into me, a result of a curse and a gift, both given to me by the mother I never got to meet. My eyes fly open, and I sit up with my hands sweeping around me as if fending off an enemy. "Holy shit," Mason says, jumping violently. I groan at the discomfort racking my body. I blink slowly, letting my surroundings come into focus. I'm at Roman's secret church, lying in the bedroom I once lived in for 3 weeks. Gaping at me in shock like I'm the ghost of Alexander the Great, Mason stands at the end of the bed. I can still hardly believe it, and I just witnessed it. Elena stands beside me. Her arms are crossed over her chest, and she shakes her head. "How did you keep this a secret for 2 months? "Don't be dramatic," I say, as I slide my legs off the edge of the bed and steady myself for a moment. It hasn't been that long that I knew I could do this part. "Even 5 minutes is way too damn long." Roman strides into the room. His eyes instantly lock on mine, and nothing in the world could get in his way as he stalks straight toward me. He places a hand to the side of my neck, tilting my face up before he kisses me. Hard. "I think I should die more often if this is the welcome back I can expect," I say breathlessly. "Absolutely not," Roman says firmly, even as Elena gives a whoop, egging the whole thing on. "I honestly thought you'd kill her before anything even close to this might happen," Mason remarks with a shake of his head. "Come on, I made lunch." Roman moves on as he pulls me up to my feet. The tense set of his shoulders, the erratic beating of his heart, are all tells of just how hard this is for him, to know I'm dying, again and again. I hope he didn't see me when I was carried back into the church, dead. Roman swore he'd take 1,000 stakes before he'd watch the light go out in my eyes again. If I can avoid putting him through witnessing it, I will. "Looks like everything went okay," I observe as I follow the scent of food. "Is Sebastian here?" No one could miss the wariness in my voice. "No," Roman says darkly. "And he's never going to find out about this place." "Apparently, there was a whole mountain of secrets you two kept for each other," Elena says, arching a brow at me as we grab food in the kitchen. I bite into an apple slice and simply shrug my shoulders. "How long are we going to let this stretch out for?" Mason asks as he piles food onto a plate. "Because I know there's a process to this so we don't get caught, but I can't stay dead for long. Elena and I need to get back to work. Sebastian is supposed to be investigating," Roman says as he leans back against the counter, crossing his arms over his chest. "I don't think we dare move forward until tomorrow. And I don't know if Orlando will leave immediately after he thinks Juliet is dead, but I'll do my best to get him on a plane." "This guy is a serious pain in the ass," Elena says, annoyed, as she shakes her head. "I feel like he keeps teasing every other day that he's going to leave, but then he never does." "For real, though," I say. "And you still don't remember him?" Mason asks. "Or anything else from before your resurrection?" Roman shakes his head. "No, and I'm glad for it. Have either of you heard of any troubles from the house toward the gifted?" They both shake their heads. "Everyone is laying low. I don't know how they have this much patience. After everything that has happened in the last year, I'm surprised anyone is still here at all," Elena remarks. An ache forms in my chest. Sigrid is one of the people I trust most on this planet. She was kind to me. And when she knew my secrets, she never made me feel bad about them or tried to pit them against me. I haven't visited my distant aunt in too long. I miss her witchy-feeling house and her warm smile. "Let's try to keep it that way," Roman says. He steps forward, wrapping his arms around my waist as I get my food. "When you're finished, I have a surprise for you." He whispers the words into the shell of my ear, his tone low, seductive. My entire body turns electric. I look over my shoulder with an arched brow. I pick up the pace. Who needs to chew their food anyway? 10 minutes later, Roman and I are seated in his SUV, and he pulls out onto the main road. What's with the secrecy? I thought we didn't do secrets between us. Roman reaches across the console and takes my hand. Confidently, he raises it to press a kiss there.
Surprises and secrets are far from the same thing. It's been all work and no time for the two of us. I can't take another day of it.
My face flushes, and my chest breaks out into a swarm of butterflies. Roman's words. They will never cease to consume me in the very best way possible. I think I like surprises, I say, a fact that has never been true before this moment. Roman takes us across downtown and pulls up to the Nocturne. He parks and walks around the vehicle to open my door for me. And it means everything in the world when he intertwines his fingers with mine without hesitation. He stands tall, confident. He's so grounded in us that it kind of takes my breath away. He leads me up the stairs and unlocks the door. It's silent when we step inside. I wonder where John has been hiding these last few days.
Your father has made some incredible progress,
Roman says as he leads me up the stairs.
Who knew a pirate could transition so smoothly into general contractor?
I laugh, but it fades off when we step out onto the top floor. The space has been demolished, but in the cleanest way possible. Everything that's needed structurally is still in place, but everything extra? Gone. It's a blank canvas, ready for the vision of my father. I was seriously here only 3 days ago.
John has been working almost nonstop since the idea of fixing this place up came to the table,
Roman says, as we circle about. There's a table in the middle of the space, and I see the plans lying on it. But I kind of don't want to spoil the surprise.
I think he's trying to keep himself occupied so he doesn't go into war mode with my brother.
I nod with a chuckle. He's fought a few royals in the past, but this is amazing.
Come on,
Roman says, leading me back down the stairs. My excitement builds as I walk down the floors, imagining what it could be like. A home for us all. A central place where we're all one big family. Where we laugh and cry and come together. We step out onto the 3rd floor. My face flushes when I remember what Roman said.
I haven't had a chance to make many plans yet,
Roman says as we step forward.
But I wanted to find out what you'd like first.
A home. Roman said he was going to turn this into our home. Together, the two of us. He asked for this floor, for us. I don't know who would ever tell him no, because we are both council members and this building belongs to the council. But the fact that he thought of this, that these kinds of thoughts are growing and building in his head, I wrap my arms around Roman as I look around at the space. It's dusty, dated. There are too many walls from former offices to see very far. But the windows are beautiful, even if I have to hide from the sunlight that comes through them. The hardwood floors are fantastic. A gigantic bathtub, I say as I step forward, dragging Roman along with me. And a big kitchen. I don't particularly love cooking, but I really like watching you. Roman chuckles at that.
I think that could be arranged.
We turn down a hall, and there are a dozen doors breaking off either side. One by one, I open them, trying to imagine what this place could be. A big living room where all our favorite people can gather. I think we need weekly game nights when all this insanity is said and done. Roman makes a noise, one that says he has little interest in inviting lots of people into our home. But I just grin at him like a loon and continue opening doors. What do you want? I ask, as I finally reach the last door. It's a corner office with windows on 2 of the walls. I wander inside, and Roman follows in after me.
I don't need much,
he says. I feel his eyes on me from behind, but I don't turn. I stare at the windows without really seeing them.
A kitchen where you can watch me cook.
His footsteps approach, and his arms wrap around my waist.
A gigantic bathtub, and a bedroom insulated well enough to keep all sound in and out.
Roman, I say in surprise. My face feels hotter, and a flame sparks in my lower belly. I lift a hand, caressing the side of his neck. His lips press into my own, tender, holy, confident. Sex is not something we've talked about. The passion is there. The hunger is always just beneath the surface. But this relationship has developed slowly. One mistake and one realization at a time. I don't know when we'll get there, but there is absolutely no rush, and I'm enjoying every step of the journey. He spins me in place, his hand coming to the side of my neck, tilting my face up to his. Those intense blue eyes study mine, so vivid, so full of promise. They're almost overwhelming in their sincerity.
I'm going to marry you someday, Juliet. Maybe in this very space. But it's going to be ours. And the rest of the world could burn for all I care, so long as it's you and me together as we go down.
I close the gap between us, hungry and starving for him. My arms wrap around his shoulders, and his hands grip possessively at my hips. His tongue is hot and curious as it invades my mouth. I bite at his lower lip, not being gentle, as I fist his shirt in my hand, pulling him closer, closer, closer. When this thing finally does happen, we might have to go into seclusion for a month, because it's going to be wild and loud and absolutely untamed, because that is how I feel with this god of a man. I'm going to flaunt you all over the place the second the house is gone, I say, as my hand tangles into his wild black hair. Roman DeLuca is mine, and I want the whole damn world to know it. I love that proud, slightly vain smile that pulls on his lips. His is an ego I don't mind inflating.
Come on, the surprise isn't near finished.
We walk back out to the SUV, and Roman points us toward the magnificent mile. He finds somewhere to park and looks at me with this predatorial grin before he climbs out and walks around to open my door. I expect this from Elena every other day, but this doesn't feel like a Roman move, I say suspiciously.
Just trust me tonight,
he says, dropping his lips to my ear, his words low, his lips brushing my skin. I'll trust him tonight, and every night, for the rest of my life. Roman leads us to a store I've never been to before. When we walk in, it smells like money and wealth.
Pick a dress,
Roman says, as his eyes sweep the store before looking down the length of me, as if he's already ready to drool over me.
Wear it out, and meet me outside in half an hour. I'll give them my card.
I eye him suspiciously. This doesn't feel like Roman, but I'll go with it. He gives me a smirk and peels off into the men's section. I wander into the shop, and it's only about 10 seconds before a shop attendant is asking me what I'm looking for and how she can help. I'm a little lost since I don't know what to dress for tonight. I try on a red number. It doesn't feel right. I put on something white. Nope, not for tonight. I shimmy into a champagne-colored dress and immediately pull it back off. I go with my gut. When the attendant hands in a deep purple dress, I get a good feeling. I pull it on, and it feels like a second skin. It's ruched up the sides and hugs all of my curves in the very best ways. I'd expect the red glow of my mother's gift contained in my crystal necklace to contrast with the purple, but it doesn't. They go together in the most enchanting way. "Do we have a winner?" the attendant asks from behind the curtain. "Oh, yeah," I say, turning in the mirror and admiring the view. "These would go perfect with it," she says, just 20 seconds later, reaching through and dangling some pumps from her fingers. "You're a genius," I praise as I take them and slip them on to my feet. I bundle up the clothes I walked in here with and walk out. Mr. DeLuca prepaid for everything, the woman tells me. He's waiting for you outside. Thanks, I offer, and head to the doors. I drink in the sight of him through the glass. He's wearing a dress shirt with the sleeves rolled up to his elbows. He stands with his hands tucked into black dress pants. His hair is more wild than ever. He looks dangerous and delicious right now. His eyes dart to me as I step out, dropping down the length of me and very, very slowly rising back up. I'll take that as approval, I say, feeling smug in the very best way.
That's approval,
he says in a low growl. He reaches for me, grabbing my hips and hauling me against his chest. His lips claim mine in the most possessive way possible.
Come on, it's time to finish this night.
He lifts me clean off the ground and sets me in the passenger seat, pressing a quick kiss to my lips before he closes the door and rounds to the driver's seat. We drive 6 blocks before Roman pulls up to a valet. He hands off the keys and takes my hand, guiding me inside. I've never been here before, but the dark walls, the dim lighting, the pumping music, and the scent of mixed drinks makes this all seem familiar. Roman pays the cover charge and then leads me down a long hall before we walk out into a large, crowded room. It's a nightclub.
I'd rather take you to my club,
Roman says as he turns and walks backward, holding my hand as he takes us out on the dance floor.
But until Orlando leaves, opening a nightclub for vampires doesn't sound like a good idea. So, until then, I figured a human club was better than nothing.
I grin and loop my arms behind his neck. This was exactly the kind of distraction I needed tonight. Well done. He settles his hands on my hips, and those intense blue eyes bore into mine as he sways us to the music. There are dozens of people around us. They're loud. They're laughing. They're having a great night. Their bodies fill up the space. But my eyes never look anywhere but at Roman. There isn't another soul in this whole world that exists right now. It's Roman and me, and that's it. As the pace of the song changes, Roman spins me until we're back to chest. He wraps his hand around my stomach, holding me close. He trails his fingertips down my arm, and my skin prickles with goosebumps at his touch. I lace my fingers into his hair and lean my head back, letting my eyes slide closed. The music pulses through me, the vibrations loud and deep. The heat of Roman's body pressed against mine consumes me entirely. Roman's lips come to the side of my neck. Playfully, gently, they make their way from the hollow behind my ear down to my shoulder. He gives one place a good pull. Enough there's real danger he'll leave a mark. But I don't mind. He can mark me as his. I am his. Just as much as he is mine. The song changes once more, and I spin around. My hands rise up his chest slowly, crusting over his shoulders. I'm having a hard time not letting my thoughts run wild, imagining dirty, carnal things. It's the best night I've had in a long, long time. Time loses meaning, going all too fast, yet taking up a lifetime. Roman and I dance, kiss, explore, and for the first time in so damn long, there are no problems. No madmen, no curses, no poisoned vampires, no gifted or vampires. We're just 2 people in love, getting a hot night out to just be us. We stay until the club announces they will be closing in 10 minutes. So, Roman tips my face up and presses his lips to mine, kissing me deeply.
I love you,
he says darkly. I love you, I answer breathlessly. It's still a marvel to me. Hand in hand, we walk back down the long hallway. Roman hands over his ticket to the valet, and we wait at the curb for the car to come around. There, across the street, I see a man walking away. The gait is familiar. The clothes are familiar. The tightness in his shoulders is unmistakable. That's Sebastian walking away from us. Coincidence? I don't know. He could be anywhere in the city. He could be doing anything at all. But was he there, in the club, watching me and Roman? He said he wasn't going to stand between Roman and me, but will his actions forever match his words? My stomach knots, but I push it all out of my mind, determined to not let it ruin the perfect night. I tuck myself into Roman's side and wait for the car to take us home. Chapter 15. The sun rises. I sit in a chair at the hospital and listen to the sounds of all the life around me. Feet hustle around, equipment beeps and chirps. Someone cries, another person yells. Nurses comfort and doctors work furiously to save lives. It's the rhythm of life. My next death is impending. I got the text from Sebastian 30 minutes ago that the plan is in motion. He's delivered the grave news to Orlando that I, Juliet Doe, girlfriend to his long-lost brother, am a Night Council member. My sentence is death. I'm not supposed to know it's coming. Supposedly, Sebastian will accompany me to my apartment. Privacy is key to this all, making sure I'm none the wiser about my impending execution. The house will arrive and kill me. Tomorrow, they will receive an anonymous tip that Sebastian is the last council member. They'll kill him, I'll die for him, and then, hopefully, the house will leave after delivering all the bad news to Roman. That's the hope. I've gotten everything going for the day, and everything should be set for the next 2 days, just in case I have to hide out for a bit until Orlando leaves. The hospital is working like clockwork now, thanks to the many hands I have to assist me. Sebastian still hasn't said a word to me about this hospital that belongs to him. He hasn't tried to take up his old position. It's almost as if he's completely forgotten it. But Sebastian is meticulous, organized. Nothing slips his mind. This is purposeful. This is planned. I just don't know what his end goal is yet. My phone chirps, and I look down to find a message from the man himself. I'm outside. I stand and hang my white coat on a hook on the back of my door. I gather my things as if I were leaving at the end of any normal day. And I wave goodbye to Holly and Lily when I see them on my way out. They have no idea I'm about to die again. I'm not even sure what number death this will be. To them, it's business as usual. And at this point, death is business as usual as well. It's fully overcast when I step outside. I pull my sunglasses on, but I am grateful it's not painful today. Sebastian waits just outside the door, as he said he would. He never even glances at the hospital, and it's a gigantic building right in front of him. You ready? He asks. I nod, and my adrenaline spikes. They're 5 minutes behind us, so we need to keep moving, Sebastian says, nodding down the way. He shouldn't know where my apartment is. I picked it on my own. He hasn't been invited over since he returned to Chicago. But he obviously knows the way. We set off down the sidewalk, walking side by side like we so often did under very different circumstances. How did Orlando take the news? I ask, trying to get a grasp on the situation. He looked incredibly disappointed, Sebastian remarks. Solon, he's not making it up when he says he likes you. But not enough to not punish me with death for trying to lead the city. I note. Sebastian shakes his head. I think for him it's more complicated than that. Something about a party. But I told him I'd get you somewhere private, away from his brother. He wants to get this over with quickly. Lovely, I say, as the light changes and we cross the street. For 2 blocks, we walk in silence. My brain is running through all the possible outcomes that tomorrow could have. Is all going to be good and peaceful if Orlando leaves? Will this damn city finally feel quiet for the first time since I arrived here? What if Orlando still doesn't skedaddle? What then? My eyes shift over to Sebastian when I realize he hasn't said anything either. His brows are furrowed. and he stares at the sidewalk as if it's personally offended him. I want to ask him if he was spying on me and Roman last night. A part of me is dying to know so I can be angry at him. There's a certain comfort to anger. But something has shifted since we talked last. I believed him when he said he wasn't going to get between me and Roman. So, in the end, I think I'd rather not know if he was stalking us. Once Orlando clears the city, what is your plan? I ask, knowing I have to slip into this topic very carefully. You think you'll keep fighting off the assassination attempts, or go find somewhere to start fresh? Sebastian's eyes rise from the sidewalk, but he doesn't look at me. I haven't made plans. His answer feels too short. Like, there should be more added, but he doesn't continue. I hear Florida is pretty awesome in the winter, I say, trying to lighten the somber mood that is nearly choking me. Maybe you could go there. Start new where no one knows who you are. There are lots of old people there, so you'll always have a job. Nothing. I don't even get a tiny break of a smile from him. He lets out a hard breath, and something in his expression looks resolved. Juliet, I've been trying to let go. I've been trying to work on myself. Hell, I even saw a therapist while I was in Rome. You seem to think that I can just move on from this, that all I need is new people and some new scenery, but whoa. This just took a turn into the deep end, and I did not know I was going to need arm floaties on this walk. Sebastian, I say quietly, sounding a little pathetic. He shakes his head as if to silence me from saying anything else. I meant what I said, Juliet. I won't stand in your way. You and Roman. He can't say the words, and I can see just how much this hurts. But I can still feel it there. I'm fighting it every second. I need to know you're safe, to be the one to protect you, to make sure you're not doing something reckless and dangerous. And I feel it in my bones then. Sebastian might not be trying to, but he's just all but admitted that he hasn't stopped stalking me. We turn the last corner and cross the street to my building. My hands are shaking, and my stomach feels sick. Emotions are pricking the backs of my eyes. You deserve to live life without the fear of having my shadow over your shoulder, Juliet. Sebastian says, his voice slightly hoarse. I'm broken. I'm a mess, and I have been my entire life. I'm not the kind that you piece back together with gold and have something more beautiful after. I'm the kind that cuts your fingers as you pick up the pieces. I press the button to call the elevator. Sebastian, you're scaring me. My voice shakes with the truth of my words. I have to do what's best for you, he says, as he finally looks up and meets my eyes. I've never seen such haunted eyes. I have to give you your freedom. Sebastian, tell me what's going on, I say, as the doors slide open and I follow him inside. The things you're saying, no one is beyond hope. Everyone is worthy of love, and you are no exception to that rule. I wasn't it for you. There is someone out there that is going to be able to give you the relationship you want. She can give you what I never could, and it will be so much better. Sebastian's eyes fix on the wall in front of us as we rise through the building. I'm doing what's best for you, he says simply, his voice only barely audible. What does that mean? I ask, panic rising in my voice. Sebastian, I don't understand. Why? I can't find the words. My head is spinning. It feels as if the world has tipped at an angle and my feet are about to slip out from beneath me. It's all going to be okay, Juliet. I promise. The doors slide open, and Sebastian steps out. He turns right instead of left, the correct direction. He walks down to the door marked 32J and waits for me to catch up and unlock it. Sebastian isn't supposed to know where my building is. He absolutely should not know which floor I live on. There's no way he should know what apartment number is mine. My hands are shaking so bad, it takes me 3 tries before I manage to get the door unlocked. But when I walk inside, Sebastian does not follow. "Aren't you coming in?" I ask. My emotions are swirling all around. I feel like a hurricane from everything going on. Sebastian shakes his head.
"I can't watch him kill you, Juliet. Even knowing you'll come back, I just can't take that. I'll see you soon."
He pulls my door closed, and through the door, I hear his footsteps retreat. What the hell is going on? What was all that about? I let out a heavy breath and walk into my apartment, dumping my things on the dining table. I squeeze my eyes closed with my hands braced on its surface. Knowing what's about to come, I need to switch gears. Right now, I have to bring out my best acting skills. The next 5 minutes are the longest in the history of mankind. But finally, I hear footsteps outside. I busy myself in the fridge, though I'm not really looking for anything. Everything from here until my death is an act. He doesn't knock. He pushes the door open, and I stand straight from behind the fridge door as Orlando lets himself in. "Roman's not here," I say, my tone casual but annoyed. I grab some string cheese from the fridge and peel the wrapper off. It's also customary here in America to knock before barging in.
"I'm not here for Roman,"
he says. His tone is low, slightly rough. The dark conflict in his eyes tell me that he truly wishes he didn't have to do what is about to be done.
"I came to tell you bravo."
I pick off a strip of the cheese and put it in my mouth. If I'm about to die, might as well not do it hungry. I arch an eyebrow at him. "For what?"
"For some truly incredible acting skills,"
Orlando says as he slowly walks through my apartment.
"You watched me kill your supposed best friend right in front of you, yet you kept it together, knowing I was coming after Night Council members, when you yourself were just made one of them."
I allow my expression to slacken. I stop chewing. Ugh, can't we just get this over with? I do not have the patience right now for acting and banter. Orlando crooks a smile, one that indicates he thinks he's got me in a panic.
"The born were never meant to rule. After betraying Cyrus all those years ago, the 5 sons condemned their descendants to a life of commonality. The right to rule must be born into your blood through Dorian or Malachi. Mason, Elena, you. None of you have that right."
I take a step back in the kitchen.
"Considering that my brother has that right, though, and he loves you, I might have overlooked it,"
Orlando says as he continues his slow stalk toward me.
"But it is that damn party that I cannot forgive. And I just learned that it never would have happened were it not for introducing you to the population as the newest council member."
"Orlando,
I know what was done."
He cuts me off, his expression hardening.
"I saw the event with my own eyes. The assumption of power I might have forgiven. But that party—"
He shakes his head, and embers spark in his eyes.
"King Cyrus values secrecy above all else. Protecting the existence of vampires is the primary job of every royal. That event, I cannot trust you to my brother, as this area's new regent, with you making such reckless moves that bring attention."
"It's not—" He crosses the space in a fraction of a second, and I suck in a gasp as something sharp pierces my chest.
"I truly wish it did not have to be this way,"
Orlando says softly into my ear as the world grows fuzzy and begins to go black.
"My brother loves you with a ferocity that could destroy the whole world. I can only pray that he will forgive me for doing what is best for him."
The world goes dark, and I drop to the ground, dead. Chapter 16. Surely my body was packed into a cannon, and then the fuse was lit. I rip through time and space, hurtling back into the land of the living. My eyes slide open as a groan escapes my lips, an ache in my chest, I rub at it, knocking a bloodied steak off of me. Huh. I haven't had that one before. Orlando must have left it buried in my chest. Did my body push it out as I resurrected yet again? I roll over to push myself back up to my feet when my hand hits a piece of paper lying right next to me. I come into a sitting position and grab it.
Meet me at Roman Nights at 3 o'clock. Stay out of sight. Trust me. Please.
I'd recognize Sebastian's handwriting anywhere. He wouldn't come in and watch Orlando murder me, but he came back inside when the job was done and left me a note. What are you up to, Sebastian? I murmur. I look up at the clock on the wall and see I've only got 30 minutes until Sebastian asked me to meet. For a second, I consider simply calling him and asking what the hell he wants. But after the weird way he was acting and the strange things he was saying, I feel like I should just go meet him and get some answers. I head straight into my bathroom, no time to waste, and rinse off. Blood washes down my body, not even dried yet from when I died 20 minutes ago. I dry, dress in the most boring jeans I have, and pull on a very basic black coat. I pull a hat on low and pull my hair back. This is as good as I'm going to get trying to disguise myself, when I'm supposed to be dead. It's windy when I step out of my building. I pull my coat tighter around me and set off down the sidewalk at a quick clip. It's busy today, which is good. I'll blend in easier. I'm no one in the crowd, just another body in Chicagoland. With only 5 minutes to spare, I cross the last intersection. My eyes scan the entry to the club, trying to figure out what the hell is going on. But there is no one around that I can see. So I walk up to the door and find it unlocked. The noise of the city instantly muffles as I enter the lobby. Familiar snakeskin walls aren't quite as dramatic looking with the lights off. I strain my ears, listening for any clues about what to expect, but it's dead silent. I walk in, finding the main area of the club totally deserted.
Stay out of sight,
Sebastian's note had said. I take the stairs up to the 3rd floor mezzanine. I look around for cover and find it in the form of a cupboard that holds sound equipment. There's just enough room for me to stand inside, and the venting in the door provides a perfect view of nearly the entire club, all the way over the wall to the main entrance. The door swings open, and I watch as Sebastian walks in. The expression on his face is dark. Dangerous. I don't like it. I don't like the way he was talking.
Trust me,
he'd written out. Can I? Do I? He walks into the main area of the club, his eyes casting around. He knows I'm here, but when his eyes don't settle anywhere in particular, I think he can't narrow in on my exact location. I don't get too long to wonder what the hell is going on, though, because once more the door opens and Roman walks in. My heart thumps. I guess I've reached the point where just the sight of him sends my pulse racing. But also, Sebastian killed Roman once. As far as I know, this is the first time the two of them have been alone together since everything went to shit.
What do you want?
Roman growls, straight to the point. His tone is aggressive.
You know how dangerous it is for us to be here. You don't want royals knowing you own a nightclub targeted specifically to vampires?
Sebastian asks, playing dumb.
You don't want trouble, don't go creating it.
Something about this feels off. Sebastian is antagonizing Roman. It feels purposeful, calculated.
I'm letting you live because you matter to Juliet,
Roman says, his tone getting lower, quieter, more deadly. He takes slow steps toward Sebastian, but the man doesn't back down or look intimidated one bit.
But there are limits to my patience.
Seems pretty damn solid to me, Sebastian says, just as low and dangerously calm. I didn't even hear the door open or close, but there, in the dark shadows, I catch just a hint of movement, and all of my blood turns cold. Orlando is silent as a shadow and blends in just as well. He walks slowly, listening. He stops in the hallway, waiting just outside the main area. This is no damn coincidence. Sebastian's note, Roman's arrival, Orlando knowing just where to go to listen.
You waited 10 months before making your move on my fiancé, Sebastian continues. I think your patience is pretty impressive. The terms of our agreement are running thin,
Roman says, taking yet another step toward Sebastian.
You've caused nothing but pain in this city. Juliet might not actually want you dead, but your being here is just continually pouring salt in the wound. I think it's time for you to leave Chicago.
Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. Sebastian's written words pound in my head as loud as the heated conversation below me. This is bad. Roman has no idea his brother is listening, and right now, it feels like Sebastian is leading him into a trap.
Trust me, please.
My entire body is trembling with terror, but I stay silent, keeping complete control on my breathing so as not to be heard.
Is that an order as a royal or as a council member?
Sebastian says, sealing the danger. Shit. No. My brain screams no, the word dancing right on my lips. Sebastian was never supposed to tell Orlando that his own brother was a founding member of the council he's so livid about. But he's just said it, and I know Sebastian knows Orlando is listening.
Doesn't matter,
Roman growls.
I want you gone, out of the city before the end of the week.
And with that, Roman hasn't denied being a council member. And even though I can't see Orlando's facial reaction to this, I see him stand straighter. There's danger in his stance. There's action curling his fists.
Trust me. So you can carry Juliet off into the sunset, happily ever after, without me in the way?
Sebastian snarls. Panic is closing my throat tight. Sebastian gave me his word that he wouldn't stand in our way. Roman told him that if he made one more comment, Roman would tear his tongue out. And now this.
Face it, Roman. Juliet doesn't want me dead because part of her knows that no one will understand her the way I do. She may never forgive me for what I did, but she still loves me, and you will never erase all of that. Shut your damn mouth,
Roman suddenly bellows, closing the distance between them. Roman grips the lapels of Sebastian's coat, yanking him hard, hissing right in his face.
Don't you for 1 second think you're going to win her back. You're right. Juliet will always love you. I will not ever ask anything different from her. But you broke her, you asshole. You shattered her the night of your engagement party. Love isn't control. It isn't stalking someone every moment of every day. It isn't trying to take out dozens of vampires. You don't even understand the definition of the word.
And you do? Sebastian bellows back. He shoves Roman in the chest, separating the two of them.
Look at the timing, Roman. We find out you're a royal, and suddenly Juliet falls in love with you?
Sebastian shakes his head. It takes everything I have to keep myself from bursting out of this cabinet, launching myself over the railing, and raining down on Sebastian with claws and fangs. I want to pummel Sebastian's stupid face right then. If I were down there, I'd snap, no matter the fact of who is watching.
And now we see what you really think of Juliet,
Roman says with disgust, shaking his head.
You say you know her better than anyone, but you don't know her at all if you think status had anything to do with it. Juliet and I were perfect for each other,
Sebastian shouts. He grabs a glass off the bar and hurls it across the space to shatter against the far wall.
She was happy, and we were going to have the perfect life together. But you.
Sebastian's voice quakes with anger. I truly can't tell if this is real or an act.
You never deserved her,
Roman says darkly.
But Roman DeLuca, council member, and damn royal does,
Sebastian says, sealing the deal.
You say you love her, but love is doing whatever it takes to protect them. So take a look in the damn mirror. Whose fault is it that she's dead? Huh?
The words grow louder, shouted in emotional rage.
It wasn't my brother who killed the woman we both loved. Her death is on you.
And the scream nearly rips from my lips when Sebastian draws something from his coat. He drives it downward and buries a stake in Roman's chest. There's a fraction of a second of utter silence. Blood stains Roman's shirt as it seeps around the stake sticking out of his chest. Roman sucks in a wet gasp that's choked off with a bubbling gargle. His body slackens, and then the spark of life disappears from his eyes.
Choose Roman,
Sebastian says, cutting through the silence. And then all hell breaks loose. An unearthly roar fills the entire space as Orlando explodes from the shadows at the exact moment Roman's body hits the floor. Orlando collides with Sebastian, the both of them smashing back into a wall.
What have you done? Andreas, you filthy bastard, you've killed my brother.
I've never heard such manic rage as what I hear in Orlando Badillo's voice. He shoves Sebastian back, snapping Sebastian's head against the wall again, buckling the drywall.
But now you know the truth about him,
Sebastian says, with a coy smile pulling on his lips. Orlando snarls, the sound entirely inhuman. He grips Sebastian by his coat and hurls him across the space like he's a rag doll. Sebastian hits the ground and slides across the floor on his back. I'm holding in so many screams. Adrenaline is burning me through. Tears are streaming down my face. Roman is lying there dead. Sebastian has betrayed us. And Orlando knows the truth now. Fear and panic, complete and utter terror have a chokehold on me, keeping me momentarily silent. An animalistic roar pours out of Orlando. He once called the Badillo family one of war. I see it on every inch of his enraged expression.
Choose Roman,
Sebastian says, as Orlando leaps through the air, every inch of him the vampire predator he is. And the world comes to a screeching halt when there's a hard, wet crunch as Orlando lands on Sebastian. He sucks in a wet gasp, his body curling inward.
I hope you rot in misery together in hell,
Orlando says, venom dripping from his words as he stands. He brushes his hair back from his face, streaking blood into it. Sebastian's blood. A silver blade sticks out of Sebastian's chest, right into his heart. For just a second, brief as the inhale of breath, I see peace in Sebastian's eyes as he stares up at the ceiling. His eyes are wrapped around the handle of the blade. But one falls slack, and then the other. And the world falls away as I watch the color leach from Sebastian's skin, and the light in his eyes goes out. I squeeze my eyes closed, forcing a waterfall of tears down my face. I'm going to throw up. I'm going to throw up. My entire body shakes violently, yet it's frozen with fear. I can't let Orlando hear me, or this entire bloody plan will be ruined. Orlando curses, a string of them loudly, in English, Spanish, and Italian. He kicks at one of the stools at the bar, shattering it. He lets out a purely primal scream of rage as his fingers twist into his wild black hair again. I know the truth now. Why Orlando really came to Chicago. It was for love. He truly loves Roman, and he was telling the truth all along. He just wanted to reconnect with his brother. But with the show he was putting on, none of us believed him. And now, we're all paying the ultimate price. My eyes lock on Roman lying there on the floor. Limits. What are my limits? I've died for Roman once. There is nothing in this entire world that says I can do it again. And I can't leave this hiding place. Orlando cannot see me. But what kind of time frame after death does my gift work? Silently, I sob into my hand, covering my mouth. Ruined. It's all ruined. The world ends this way with everyone I love dying, and a royal is here to witness our downfall. But a noise outside pulls my attention. It sounds like a fist. It's yelling. A body falls to the ground and scuffles back, and then more fists pummel more flesh. There's a fight happening outside, not far from the front doors from the sound of it. And then there's another sound. Sirens. The sound grows closer and closer. Orlando stands straight, his head whipping to the door. He stands there, frozen for a moment, and I can practically hear the gears turning in his head. What now? He's just witnessed the brother he searched for decades die in front of him. He's just learned that his brother was a traitor to the crown. He's just killed his brother's murderer. He curses, the sound reverberating from the walls. I see his expression harden, and he turns around, staring at Roman's body. He pauses for a moment, the sound of sirens growing closer and closer. He stalks to Roman's side, standing above him, studying his still and lifeless face. I've never seen so much conflict on a person's face. Love, loss, betrayal, disappointment, panic. But slowly, it's disdain that takes over. And then he spits on Roman. The action is so sudden, so unexpected, and so demoralizing, I startle back. Orlando mutters something under his breath, something I don't catch. And then, relief starts to loosen the chokehold around my throat when he turns and heads toward the door. As the sound grows closer and closer, he breaks out into a jog in the hallway to the lobby. And he disappears into a blur the moment he steps outside. I'm frozen for a moment in shock. Everything went sideways. This was the worst possible way things could have gone. Finally, after silence prevailing for a good 20 seconds, the first sob breaks past my lips. My hands are shaking so hard, it takes me a moment to open the cupboard. All of my joints feel stiff and numb. As I scramble along the mezzanine, my eyes fix on the two men on the floor, both of them lying there, dead. No, I sob. No, no, no. I'm not clumsy anymore. It's physically impossible now, but I nearly trip over myself as I scramble down the steps, feeling every passing second. But the moment I reach the ground level, I freeze between the two of them. They're lying a good 20 feet apart. Can I die for Roman a second time? Can I die for two people at once? Sometimes your intuition will tell you the truth, and you know that it does speak the truth. I know I can't die for both of them at the same time. My stomach turns, and another sob rips from my chest. I look to Roman. I look over at Sebastian. I squeeze my eyes closed, the tears wrecking my face and oxygen in short supply as I break into 1,000 pieces. Choose Roman. They weren't random words spoken to ghosts. They weren't nonsensical words said to Orlando. Sebastian knew I was hiding somewhere in the building. He knew I was watching and listening. And he knew exactly how this was all going to happen. Choose Roman. Those words were instructions, a request. They were freedom being granted. Damn you, Sebastian, I say shakily. Another sob rips me apart. I can do it. I can die for Roman. And then I can die for Sebastian. And all three of us are going to walk out of this vampire nightclub. And then there's going to be hell to pay for putting me through an experience I will never recover from, watching two men I have loved die right before my eyes. Choose Roman. The words haunt me. And, fueled by terror, I take one step toward Roman. Time. How much of it do I have? How many times? Will this even work? What if it doesn't work? I've only just found my way to Roman. I've only just filled my soul after being broken my entire life. What if he's dead? What if he stays dead? What if I can only die for him once? The sob racks my shoulders. The air is painful, searing my lungs as I gasp for it. My tears fall onto his face as I fall to my knees beside Roman. My hand is shaking violently as I hover it over him. Come back to me, I beg. Please, come back to me. And I lay my hand on his cheek. Chapter 17. It's dark. A different kind of dark than the usual after-dusk sort that I'm used to. This dark is cold. It sticks to my skin, wet and penetrating. I breathe it in. It seeps into my lungs and into my bloodstream. It lays on everything as a physical weight. Something brushes my arms. Dozens of tiny little touches. I rip around, my eyes struggling to make the world around me come into any kind of focus. Nothing is solid. The entire world around me shifts in the most surreal and terrifying way. I'm standing in the middle of a cornfield. Goosebumps flash across my arms. A sense of dread creeps up the back of my neck, rounding over my scalp. I turn, my eyes frantically scanning the space. Stalks of corn, for as far and wide as I can see. The breath catches in my throat. It feels as if the darkness is wrapping itself around my neck, squeezing fractionally tighter by the second. Where am I? What the hell is this place? How did I get here? I spin in a circle again, desperate to get my bearings in this dark shadowscape. I try to retrace my steps mentally to figure out how the hell I ended up here. Screams, tears, silence, death. Roman! His name erupts from me in a panic. My head whips around, frantically searching for him in this maze of cornstalks. I set off, pushing my way through it all, the world sharp and mist all at once. Roman! My ears strain, desperate for a response. But nothing but silence responds. It presses in on my eardrums with maddening finality. I break out into a sprint. Roman! Tears prick my eyes. That shadow hand around my throat tightens faster. Orlando, Sebastian, Roman. No, I whimper. No. This is wrong. This is new. Something isn't right. Roman, I bellow, pushing the stalks away from me, trying to clear my way. Roman, where are you? The tears begin streaming down my face, an unstoppable force. Roman! His name comes out in a terrified scream. Suddenly, I burst from the field, out onto a dusty country road. There, standing just on the other side, is a woman. She is more solid than the rest of this place. It's as if the rest of the world is out of focus, and she is the only bit that is real. I freeze as I look at her. Blonde hair, blue eyes, a delicate nose, a small frame but massive presence. Juliet, she breathes, her voice filled with a familiar accent. How are you? Mom? I whisper, the word an earth-shaken quiver. The look on her face is at once terrified, confused, and filled with wonder. She takes a step forward, and then another, meeting me at the edge of the road. Her hands take mine, but they're barely tangible enough to feel. What has happened, my love? She asks, her tone tender and concerned. I look around again, feeling overwhelmed and crazy and scared. What is this place? Is this hell? Because I recognize this place. This is where my story began, and my mother's ended. It's the country road where Archer King killed her. Where my mother killed me after cursing me to never die. Ingrid brushes my hair back from my face, though it feels like little more than a feather. No, my love, it is only your perception. My eyes draw back to hers, and emotions fill me to the brim. I never thought... I know, she says, as she wraps her arms around me, guiding my face to the crook of her neck. I would curse the fact that she is so incorporeal, but all I can feel is gratitude. I've never gotten the chance to even see her face in person. Malcolm gave me the most amazing gift by showing me her past, but that was still not her actual face. And now I'm here, with her arms wrapped around me. There's so much I want to say, to tell you about, but I don't even know where to start, I say with a shake of my head. I already know it, my Juliet, she says softly. I promise you, I have seen it all. Your trials, your pain, but also your triumphs, which have been so many. I could not be prouder of the woman you've become. I squeeze my eyes closed, sending a cascade of tears down my cheeks. I don't know if they're real. I don't know if I'm real or if my mother is real, but it doesn't matter. What I do not know is why you are here, my mother says as she steps back from me so she can look me in the eyes. You should not be able to be here. You have broken the rules. Where is this rule book? I ask, starting to feel a little frantic again. I'd really like the chance to read it over. I shake my head. Now isn't the time to fall back into my default sarcasm. I just have to know, can I die for someone more than once? The look in her eyes shifts. There's hesitance there, regret, dread. No, the word escapes onto my lips. My eyes burn. That chokehold around my throat returns. No, Mom, I have to bring him back. He can't. I know what Roman means to you, she says, instantly proving that she has seen it all. But how much can you give to one person? There must be limits, Juliet. I don't know what that means. Or perhaps I don't want to know what that means. But it begins to make sense in my heart. How much can you give to one person? There must be limits. I nod. I'll give it. There is no limit for me. It's my fault. I was the one who brought this on him. Please, Mom, I have to bring him back. She looks at me hesitantly, but I see it in her eyes. She knows just how much I mean the words. Ingrid looks to the side, staring into the cornfield, and I stay rooted as she walks away, disappearing among the stalks. I don't hear her rustling around. I don't feel her feet crushing husks fallen to the ground. There is nothing but silence as she disappears out of sight. I wait, and I wait, and the weight in my chest begins to feel heavier and heavier. Who is she bargaining with? Where is she looking? What power does she have to override these rules I've broken? I don't understand anything about this place, but finally, movement draws my eyes, and Ingrid steps out of the field, and tears rush down my face when a familiar form follows after her. Roman isn't solid. He's little more than a black shadow, but I feel him there. His presence seeps into my soul, and I take a step forward. Are you sure? My mother asks hesitantly. I stop on my path to Roman, and my eyes slide back over to her. I wish we'd had what we deserved, I say, feeling the ache deep in my chest, for the life me and my mother should have gotten, for all the memories we never got to create together. I appreciate everything you did to give me my own life, though, and this will forever mean everything to me, this chance I got to meet you, no matter what happens next. Ingrid's eyes shine with her own emotion. She steps forward, cupping her hand to the back of my head as she presses a kiss to my forehead. I love you, my Juliet. I always have, and I will forevermore. I love you too, I say, my voice quivering with emotion. Forever. My entire body is shaking with uncertainty. I don't know what's about to happen. I don't know what is happening right now. But as my eyes slide back to the shadow that is Roman, lost in death, I have no doubts. Juliet, no, his voice says, clear even if his form is not. 100 times, I say, as I take a step forward. I will always choose you, Roman. And I wrap my arms around that shadowy form, and my lips find his, completing my world. I'm enveloped by his shadows, and suddenly, I'm falling through the darkest dark I've ever encountered, until I'm suspended in nothing. No light, no sound, no feeling, just nothing. Just the emptiness of death. And there, I drift forever. Chapter 18. Everything is pain. I feel my body, my very soul being ripped apart, shredded into a billion tiny little particles. A needle weaves its way through what remains, stitching me to another. A hurricane turns us around and around until the two swarms of obliterated matter are so intertwined together, they will never, ever be separated again. It hurts. It's agony. It's chaos. My soul is being shredded and blended with another. A word rings in my ears. The noise of my destruction is so loud, so ferocious, I can't separate it at first. But pound, 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 they penetrate through the chaos. Juliet. 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 My eyes snap open, the breath of life sucking into my lungs with sheer terror. A pair of vivid blue eyes look down at me. They're filled with tears and consumed by grief. They are the eyes of the man I love. A slew of grateful curses erupt from his mouth as our eyes meet. Roman wraps his arms around me, crushing me into his chest, weeping with relief.
I found you,
he breathes, the words reverent with strained reprieve. But I pull back, even as my own tears fill my eyes, because something is changed. Roman, your hair, I gape. My fingers rise to lace into his strands. No longer are they black as night. Roman's hair is now pure white.
Your hair,
he echoes. I pull my hair forward, looking down at the length that falls over my shoulder. It's no longer a warm blonde. It's as snow white as Roman's. What did you do? I ask, feeling my entire body shaking. Because I know it. That darkness I fell into after I kissed that shadow version of Roman was death. Real death. Roman shakes his head.
I woke back up and you were dead. And you weren't waking up, Juliet. 5 minutes, 20 minutes, a whole damn hour went by and you weren't waking up.
A tear races down his beautiful cheek, and his heartbreak cracks my own. He shakes his head.
I don't understand what happened. I grabbed your mother's gift, and I begged anyone, anything listening.
Roman holds out the necklace he took from around my neck, the one I wear always. It contained my mother's gift, extracted from Archer King and bound to the crystal. It's glowed brilliant red since that day. But now, lying in Roman's hand, it's nothing more than a simple white crystal again.
I felt her, Juliet,
Roman says. Those blue eyes of his lock on mine, and the entire room hums with the weight of what has just happened.
Your mother. I felt her gift. I begged. I promised anything, if only it would bring you back.
I reach a hand up, caressing his cheek. I'd done the same thing. Offered up everything, no limits, so long as it meant he could come back.
And then it felt like my entire soul was being shredded,
Roman says, his voice shaking. Mine too, I confess, sitting up just a little straighter. Roman nods, his eyes drifting to my changed hair. But it feels whole now, I say, as my hand comes to my chest. There's something different there, something bigger. My eyes shift back to Roman's. It's him. It's him I feel there. No longer just myself there, but Roman as well. She bound our souls together, I whisper. Roman nods, his eyes so vivid and filled with disbelief.
She cursed us.
Tears fall down my cheeks as I rush forward, crushing my lips to his. I should not have been able to save Roman again. He should have stayed dead. But I pushed past my limits. I gave it all. And Roman did not accept my death, not for a second. Instead, he offered up his own soul. He pulled me from the grasp of death, something I never should have been able to stay in the clutches of. Death. Death has been my life for so long now. Roman saved me this time. Without his sacrifice of his own soul, I'd be dead forever. And, with a gasp, I remember where we are and what happened just before all the impossible happened. Panic and fear burn through my veins in an instant. Sebastian! My head whips around, and there I see him, lying still and silent on the floor.
Juliet, don't!
Roman bellows in panic, desperately trying to grab me. But I'm gone, scrambling across the floor as curses rip from me. Sebastian lies in a heap on the ground, his skin ashen and gray. There is a massive pool of blood spreading out from his heart where he was staked. But it is drying. It's not fresh. And I know it wasn't just 1 hour I was dead. Blood takes hours to dry like this. I can bring him back. I can bring him back. Sebastian, I gasp as I claw at his clothes, pulling us together. My body feels wrecked, but there isn't a second to spare. I look down at his still, lifeless face and lay my hand on the side of his neck, closing my eyes in preparation for the instant punch of death. Nothing happens. My eyes rip back open, angry and confused lines forming between my brows. I remove my hand from his skin and lay it back. Nothing. I hear a relieved breath escape Roman's chest. Everything is uncertain right now. We thought my ability to die over and over was a guarantee, and now we've found there are indeed limitations. No, I say through clenched teeth. I move my hand to Sebastian's cheek. No. I reach down and grab Sebastian's hand. No. My vision swims as tears fill my eyes. No, I whisper out hoarsely. Sebastian, no! I gather him in my arms, willing life back into him, squeezing so hard his bones creak. My breath rips in and out of my chest in painful gasps. Sebastian! I lay my cheek against his, and a sob rips out from my lips. More contact, more pressure. There has to be something more. But 60 seconds pass by. Then 3 minutes. My sobs become more desperate as I remember everything he did in the minutes leading up to all 3 of our deaths. Why? I gasp. Sebastian, why? I don't know if I will ever know all the rules and limits of my gift and curse. But this trial and error way of learning sometimes requires too high a price to pay. Elena was dead for maybe 5 minutes when I died for her. With Roman, it was only a matter of seconds the first time, and maybe 3 minutes the second. But this time was different. I was dead for hours. Where is the cutoff? Where is that point of no return between 5 minutes and several hours? My sobs come uncontrollably, and the world feels as if it's been exploded into shambles of grief and brokenness. Roman kneels down next to us, staring at Sebastian's limp body in my arms. This man has killed Roman twice now, but Roman only holds grief. There is no malice or vengeance in his presence.
Trust me.
I trusted you, and look what you did! I sob into Sebastian's hair. Damn you! When my tight grip causes the sound of crinkling paper, I loosen my hold just slightly, and I notice the envelope sticking just slightly out of his breast pocket. Roman, I say with a shaky voice. Can you? I can't. Without questioning, Roman grabs the envelope, drawing it out of his pocket and tearing the paper open.
It's addressed to both of us,
he says, his tone surprised but grim. I squeeze my eyes closed, sending a cascade of tears down my face. Read it. Roman hesitates a moment. I hear him swallow once.
Dear Juliet and Roman, I know neither of you will ever be able to forgive me for what I've done. I pray with every little ounce of faith I have left that the plan worked, that your gift is stronger than we could have imagined, and there are no limitations to how many times you can die for the ones you love. I know it was a risk, and I can't imagine how scarring those moments were.
Sebastian always said he knew me best, and he proves it to an extent with his words. He knew it would be bad, how much this would break me. But he was wrong. There were limits. There was a price to be paid. And while Sebastian never wanted to see Roman and I together, now our very souls are bound together.
But I had to take the risk. Roman was never going to be free unless Orlando thought he was dead. I discussed some dark things with him. Roman, Juliet, you have to understand, Orlando was never, ever going to leave Chicago without his brother. He used words, he made deals, but he never intended to keep them. Orlando was never going back to Spain without Andres. This city that I betrayed was never going to be free so long as Orlando knew his brother was alive in it. So I did what I had to do. I had to set Chicago free. I had to set you free. Roman, Juliet, I didn't know how to set you free any other way. And I had to set myself free. I'm broken. I've taken what wasn't mine. After losing everything, I didn't know how to keep anything without using an iron grip. But all that leads to is suffocation. I can't live that way anymore. I love you more than life, Juliet. Trust me when I say this was the only way. I had to set Chicago free. I had to set Roman free. I had to set you free, Juliet. But I had to set myself free. I hope the both of you can forgive me someday, but I understand if you don't. Just know, I love you, Juliet. I set us both free. Love, Sebastian.
As Roman finishes reading the letter, my eyes screw shut and my lower lip trembles. I feel like there is an earthquake happening inside of me. Life is different now. It's been irrevocably changed. What happened in this empty club feels like a lifetime ago, yet here I am, holding the body of the man who was alive just a few hours ago. Sebastian sacrificed himself. He gave himself up for this city. For me. For Roman. For himself. He planned it all, I say, my words coming out broken. Orlando told him things he never told you, Roman. And so he planned it, my death, coming here, exposing you as a council member so your brother would never forgive you. Your third death. Orlando killing him? I suck in a sob, wiping at my face. He even plotted a fight to break out outside just moments after his death, so Orlando had no choice but to run or face the police. He planned it all. My brows draw together as the tears rush down my face. I shake my head. Sebastian is brilliant. I always knew it. I always said it. The things he was able to manage, the plans he was always able to lay, he's proven himself a genius, even after his death.
There's more in here, Juliet,
Roman says, his voice rough, low. I turn my head in his direction, but can't quite meet his eyes.
It's a will and a deed.
I squeeze my eyes closed, and somehow, I know exactly what's coming before Roman even says it.
He's left you everything. His bank account, his real estate investments,
Roman says, his voice tight.
And the hospital.
My entire face crumples, and I squeeze Sebastian's body tighter, a sob escaping my lips. Damn you, Sebastian. Roman lays his hand on my shoulder and simply maintains physical contact, his presence, as I fall apart. And I know that he understands. There is no jealousy in his touch, no anger or resentment. It might be easy to see what is happening to me as regret, that I wish things had worked out between me and Sebastian. But Roman understands. His soul is intertwined with my own. He can feel every truth inside me. I will always love Sebastian, even if I hated him, even if he and I could never fix each other and were never destined to be each other's ever after. Roman knows. He doesn't rush my grief. He isn't jealous or resentful. He's just there for me, giving his calm, steady touch. I don't know how long it has been when the door to the club opens, and a few seconds later, Jay and John walk into view. They're both pushing wooden boxes on wheels, and it takes my brain a moment to realize what they are. Coffins.
Holy shit, what happened?
Jay's voice cuts through the silent club. I look up to see both men gaping at our identical white hair. The whole world shifted, that's what.
I could never explain it,
Roman confesses.
No one else could ever understand it.
I see wariness in John's eyes. Do I try to tell him what happened? How I saw my mother, talked to her? How she gave me Roman back? And how she found a way to send me back to the world of the living by casting one last curse? Could he ever understand?
We need to get you all out of here.
Jay moves on, motivated by urgency.
It's not safe for you to stay.
More tears would be running down my cheeks if the well wasn't finally completely dry. John comes to crouch beside me, wrapping his arms around me for a moment. There's love in his embrace. Sympathy, grief, support. He kisses the top of my head. I want to hold him in a death grip as John begins to pry Sebastian out of my hands. But I know I'm going to have to let go at some point. And I let the numbness start taking over as John picks Sebastian's body up in his arms and gently loads him into one of those coffins. And then, John and Jay look back at Roman and me sitting side by side on the floor. They both look a little uncomfortable.
You both have to get in, Juliet,
John says softly, gently. Oh, there are 2 coffins. 2 people died in this club today. And I am supposed to be dead too, and cannot be seen walking around the streets very much alive. I swallow once, but nothing goes down, and I nod my head. John extends a hand, helping me up while Jay holds the lid open. Roman watches my face as he climbs inside. Goosebumps flash across my skin as I climb up and then slip into the tight space, tucking myself against Roman.
You'll be out of there soon,
John comforts, just as his face disappears and I'm enclosed in darkness. My fingers curl into Roman's shirt, one finger slipping into the hole the stake made in it. I squeeze my eyes closed. I lost both of them today. I should have walked out of here alone. Roman shouldn't have come back to life. There was no guarantee. I can't believe we're here, I say, my voice ragged. Roman presses his lips to my forehead as we start moving.
We're together. Nothing else matters.
I pull him tighter to me, focusing on the fact that he's real. I hear him breathing. I can feel his heart pounding in his chest. He's alive. I'm alive. I love you, I breathe out, my voice quivering. And you can't ever die again, ever. I don't think there are any alternatives left, okay? I'll never forgive you if you die on me again. He might laugh at me for being so ridiculous, but he doesn't. He just presses his lips to my forehead again, lingering there.
I'll do my damn best.
I squeeze my eyes closed and focus on emptying out my brain. I just have to make it through to the next event, the next thing, the next place. Don't think, don't feel. Don't think, don't feel. The coffin rolls forward, and we jostle just a little when we cross the threshold of the club. The street noise filters through when we get outside. Just a few seconds later, our coffin is loaded into a vehicle, and then we drive for 10 minutes. Don't think, don't feel. The vehicle stops, and around the edges of the lid, I see just a little bit of light as we're wheeled out onto the sidewalk. It bumps and groans as we wheel over slightly uneven pavement. Then, doors open, and the air pressure changes. Doors close, and finally, the lid to the coffin opens, and John extends a hand to me. We're in the chapel of the church, which is actually a command center, but it's not busy with team members. Jay and John are only accompanied by Elena and Mason. What happened? Elena asks, her voice hoarse. Her eyes immediately fix on Roman's changed hair first, before noting that mine matches. Her gaze then falls to the coffin next to the one I just crawled out of, as Roman climbs out of the one we shared. I squeeze my eyes closed and take a shallow breath.
"Elena, don't,"
Mason says, always too kind and too aware of the needs of others.
"I think some of it is obvious."
My entire body is trembling. It's been too much, too harsh, too brutal, too abrupt. I take in one more breath, and without a word to anyone, I walk to the exit of the chapel and into the hall, leaving Roman to give the explanations. I turn down the hall and past doors until I get to the one that opens to Roman's personal room. I turn the hot water on in the shower and peel my clothes off. They're stained with my blood, but there's just as much of Sebastian's and Roman's as well. I can't stop it when my eyes well once more. My hands feel clumsy and numb as I try to toss my clothes into the garbage. I can barely get a grip on the handle as I pull the glass door open and step inside. Wash your white hair, I instruct myself simply. Scrub your scarred body. Wash your hair. Scrub your body. I do the movements. I accomplish the tasks. But with every second that passes, my throat gets tighter and tighter. I feel lightheaded, and it's no longer the shower alone that sends moisture cascading down my face. A sob shakes my shoulders, and I brace my hands on the shower wall to keep myself from crumbling to the floor. I should have lost Roman today. Sebastian made the biggest gamble today with my heart. If I lost Roman, I should have had my last breath today. I don't still love Sebastian, not in the way I once did. He did horrible, terrible things. He broke my heart. So why does it feel like a part of me just died and stayed dead? I suck in a breath, the noise alarmingly ragged and violent in its sound. My shoulders heave as I try to breathe but can't seem to. I'm breaking. I'm shattering. The memory of the look on Sebastian's face, knowing what he was about to do, and the flash of the stake driving down into his heart keeps replaying behind my eyelids over and over. That panic I felt in that cornfield as I searched for Roman saturates my soul. And that emptiness of real death settles into the pit of my stomach. My forehead rests against the tile, and the tears wreck me. I've gotten used to no rules when it came to me and death. Maybe I was too arrogant. Everyone respects death. But I've overcome it again and again. I forgot that death is very, very real. My cries reverberate around the shower, a cacophony of grief and pain. I don't startle when the door to the shower is pulled open. My eyes don't even open when a warm hand peels me off the wall, and then a strong body wraps around me, holding me upright, safe and protected. And we simply exist. Two souls now bound as one, feeling the same terror after effects. I feel Roman's emotions there in my chest as clearly as I feel my own. Today broke something in him. Seeing me lay there dead for hours. Roman was making plans, dark ones with an end. There were no days beyond this one, no days without me. That grief tightens my arms around him. I don't think I can ever let go. The water eventually runs cold. With a tenderness that's rarely seen, Roman wraps me in a towel and then himself. And, without questions, he scoops me up into his arms. He carries me out into the bedroom, climbs into the bed with me, and tenderly curls me up into his embrace. He presses his nose into the top of my head, into my wet hair. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't question. He allows me to trudge through my grief. Emotions are tricky. Relationships are complicated. And throwing them together into a blender can create some truly messy results. Sebastian was talking kind of crazy right before Orlando came to kill me, I say hoarsely. About making things right, about him feeling his old compulsions coming back. He said he had to do what was best for me. The words feel like tar in the back of my mouth. They're nearly impossible to work around. They're difficult to form and put into coherent, understandable vocalizations. He knew what he was doing, I say, tucking myself into Roman's chest just a little tighter. He timed it so I couldn't do anything to stop him. And after you were dead, he said, choose Roman. He knew I was there, watching, listening. I didn't know my gift only goes to a certain time limit. But somehow, I think Sebastian did. By the time you brought me back, it was too late. I couldn't save you both. Roman runs a hand down the back of my head, pressing his lips to my forehead. I squeeze my eyes closed, and it forces 4 new, fresh tears out onto my cheeks. I hated him. I was so damn angry. But no one is beyond saving. I never wanted him dead.
I know,
Roman says, and he does know. He did know. Even when I had such vile thoughts about Sebastian, Roman still knew that I never wanted to see him dead. My arms wrap around Roman, and I pull myself to him. I press my forehead to his chest, and I silently weep. Chapter 19. When I wake, my eyes slide open to see Roman staring at the ceiling. I might have fallen asleep, but it's obvious Roman didn't sleep for even 1 minute. His thoughts are running across the ceiling, dark shadows no one could ever catch or tame.
Sebastian was right, and I was an idiot for not seeing it,
he says, knowing immediately that I'm awake.
Orlando was never going to leave Chicago with me here.
I trace my fingers over his chest, wishing for this day to be over already, and I just woke up.
I should have known better,
Roman continues. His eyes fall to my fingers, and he watches as I trace patterns into his skin.
I underestimated Orlando, and you had to die, save me from death, and go through losing Sebastian in a whole different way. I'm so sorry, Juliet.
His eyes rise to meet mine. I study his. He's being truthful. He is sorry. He understands. He feels guilty right now. I feel all of his emotions deep in our now intermingled souls. I don't want him feeling guilty. I lean forward and press my lips to his, lingering there, breathing the same air. Sebastian knew what he was doing, I say. My voice sounds a little raw. You have nothing to be sorry for. He brings a hand to the back of my head, his forehead touching mine. There's a lot of raw energy moving between us. Too much has transpired in the past. I don't even know how many hours. Life has shifted, changed forever. Much for the bad, but hopefully much for the good.
We got word from my spy about 20 minutes ago,
Roman says.
Orlando and all of his house members have landed back in Spain. It's confirmed.
I let out a breath I think I've been holding for 11 days. He's gone. It's over. It's finished. And it came with the cost of Sebastian sacrificing himself.
Come on,
Roman says, dreading the words even as they leave his lips.
Jay has finished the hole, and everyone is waiting.
My entire body goes cold at the words. But I picture that coffin Sebastian was lowered into, and I know what must happen now. So I fight off the overwhelming need to break down. I get up. I put on the black dress Elena brings to the room. I twist my white hair back. And when I'm ready, I step out into the chapel with Roman by my side. Sebastian hurt so many people in this city. What he did was awful. But still, Elena and Mason wait for us, all dressed in black. I lay eyes on Sigrid for the first time in forever and wonder if she has any idea what the cost was for me and Roman to still be here. Warren stands at his mother's side. Several doctors and nurses are waiting as well. After all he did, there are still people gathered here who loved or respected him. After all, what he accomplished is astonishing. Sebastian was more capable than anyone I know. Was. The past tense thought sends a singular tear down my cheek, but I brush it away and step into the command center chapel. The coffin rests in the center of the room. It's closed, and for that, I'm grateful. I don't think I could handle seeing his face just one last time, or watching the lid be closed, never to be opened again. Maybe there should be words spoken. People are supposed to say nice things about you when you die, but this is a complicated situation, and what happened is too fresh. So, one by one, we follow out after the coffin as Jay wheels it out the back door. I've never spent much time out here. There's a small courtyard. Green space comes at an all-time premium in the city, but where there once was grass, it's now mostly an open hole, 6 feet deep. The coffin sits poised and ready. If anyone has any last words to share, now is the time. But no one says anything. I cross to the coffin and lay my hand on the lid. It's almost impossible to believe that Sebastian is in there. He was always larger than life, and his presence alone filled an entire room. And now, he's cold and silent. 1,000 emotions run through me as I look down at the coffin. What Sebastian and I had was something real and raw. It all crashed and burned, but we were something to each other. We saw each other's darkness, and neither one of us turned away. Until the dark turned to night. Goodbye, Sebastian, I say softly. I step back, and Roman, Mason, Jay, and John walk up, each taking a corner of the coffin. And even and slow, they lower it into the hole in the back courtyard of a church the man never knew existed. When he is lowered, Roman takes a step back to my side. John comes to the other. I've been loved in many different forms in my life. Maybe not many, a few. The obsessed and possessive love of Sebastian, the mournful but reunited love of my father, and the completely unexpected but perfectly balanced love of Roman.
Rest in peace, Sebastian,
Roman says quietly. Just as Jay shovels the first scoop of dirt into the grave, it starts to rain. Chapter 20. Orlando wrecks the literal house, or rather mansion, they live in when he gets back to Spain. Our spy witnesses him tear every piece of furniture to splinters in the living room. He drains 2 people completely. He kicks everyone out of the house for an entire week, wallowing in solitude. I see the guilt written all over Roman's face as we get the daily reports. He blames himself for the havoc Orlando has caused, but there's nothing he could do. He can't control Orlando any more than the local weather person can control the angry winter winds. Roman orders constant sweeps of the city for 2 weeks after the house leaves. There's always a chance Orlando left a spy behind. For what? We're not sure, because Orlando has no reason to doubt that all the troublemakers here are dead. But the eyes of Roman's teams have never been sharper. If Orlando is still watching the city or has sent anyone back, it's dire that we know. But our people can't stay dead forever. After 2 weeks, we have to come out of hiding. Elena and Mason go back to work in Godfrey Tower. I head into the hospital. Roman reopens the nightclub. After so much chaos and trial, it's almost impossible to not be constantly on guard. But when nothing happens after a month, we start living again. I have a mountain of paperwork to deal with. Sebastian truly took care of everything. He sent a suicide note to Superintendent Day. He had a forged death certificate sent over the very next day. One came to my address as well. And so, I was able to legally and officially take claim to everything he left me. It takes a solid month before I don't cry whenever I think about it all. Before I can walk into the hospital without feeling like I'm the one dying all over again. There are so many memories here And Sebastian's presence fills every space. He built this place. This was his dream, and he executed it perfectly. The man left me an entire hospital. It's too much. I don't need any of his money. I don't need any of those investment properties. And the income generated by the hospital. I truly had no idea until I had legal claim to look over the books. I don't know what charities I'm about to become best friends with, but there's no way I won't feel guilty every moment if I just pocket all that money. There's a lot of hurt in the world, and while money doesn't fix everything, it sure can help. I think there will be a lot of kids in foster care that are about to get a sponsor. With all the demands of the hospital, I realize something. I don't want to spend every waking moment working. I don't care for the prestige that comes with my new title. I don't care to have everyone looking to me as the person in charge. I do not have it in me to shoulder everything required. So, with the advice from the best lawyers Mason has, I create a board at the hospital. I need help, lots of it. And after a lengthy and very careful vetting process, I get that arranged. I don't have to spend my life being a hospital administrator. I will spend a few hours a week making sure things are going smoothly. I want to work about 10 hours a week in the emergency room because I still love it, but the rest of the time is mine. Things are different now. The supernatural population of Chicago now knows Roman is a literal royal. They respected him before, but now they look at him with a different kind of fear in their eyes. The majority of the residents know nothing of my death, Mason's, or Roman's. Elena's was the only one that was public. The rest were rumors. The council holds a whole new level of mystique for the general population. How we faked our deaths to the royal? None of them know, but the rumors are legendary. They will never know the truth of my curse and my gift. The truth of why Roman's hair changed from black to white, and why mine matches. 3 months after the house leaves Chicago, John extends an invitation for everyone to come over to the Nocturne for midnight brunch. It is the first time we've gathered since we got our city back. After 3 months, we finally feel safe once more.
You ready?
Roman asks as I open the door to my apartment to find him standing there. My mouth instantly waters at the sight of him. He wears black slacks and a button-down shirt with the sleeves rolled up to his elbows. Ready, I answer with a smile. I take a step forward, pressing a kiss to his lips. His hand snakes around my waist, squeezing me against his body for just a moment. Roman takes my hand and leads me to the elevator, walking backward down the hall, his eyes roving over me. The moment the doors close us in, Roman tugs me closer. The look in his eyes is heavy, intense. He brings a hand to the side of my face, cradling and lighting a fire in the pit of my stomach. I lean forward and kiss him. My teeth graze at his lower lip. My hands come to fist in his hair. Roman breathes me in and shifts his kisses to my jaw, then to the side of my neck.
Every second,
Roman says as his teeth drag over my skin.
Every taste, every inch. You're perfect in every flawed way, Juliet, and I'm going to worship you until the end of time.
His hands grip my hips, and he hoists me right up. He spins, pressing my back against the wall of the elevator, sending it swaying in a slightly terrifying way. But the pleasure of his pressure against my core is enough to know it's worth it to die yet another death. But that's no good. I'll never let Roman die again. Ever. Because this man right here, he's my forever. He is literally my other half, with our souls being fused. But he's also taught me that I'm enough all on my own. And so is Roman. But we're 2 stars, destined to travel the same path, side by side, until the edge of the galaxy swallows reality. His soul is mine, and my soul is his. We're forced to be decent when the elevator dings and the doors slide open to the main floor. I climb down from Roman and straighten my dress, just in time before the poor old woman who lives on the floor below me has to blush at us just one more time. Roman holds the door to the lobby open for me, and, hand in hand, we head down the street toward the nocturne. From the outside, you'd never know anything was different. The nocturne still looks like its historic, beautiful self. But Roman walks to the door and enters a code into the new security keypad. No more scrounging around for keys. It beeps, and Roman pulls the door open. The classic charm is still there. The checkered floors, the beautiful woodwork, the ballroom. But everything is fresher, brighter. And this is just the entry. We head up the stairs, and my heart hammers in anticipation. The second floor is for guests. There are bedrooms and bathrooms, a living space, and a functional kitchen. John has put a lot of effort into this floor as a failsafe. If we need to congregate, if we need somewhere safe we can all go, there is space for everyone. But as we climb past the second floor and get to the landing for the third, I look over with an insane amount of anticipation.
"No peeking,"
Roman says with a coy grin as he pulls me up the stairs. He's hung a curtain over the entryway. He's keeping it all a huge secret, and the big reveal won't happen until he's totally finished with it. As of right now, he's spending half his time working on our future home. For us, Roman and me. We climb the stairs, rising higher and higher until we reach the top floor. It's not 100% finished. The new flooring hasn't been installed, and there are still some missing light fixtures. But the walls are all in place, the drywall finished, textured, and painted. The place is absolutely beautiful. We enter right into a huge open area. There are arched windows scattered along the outside walls. Massive pillars hold the roof up, but here in the center is a massive gathering area. There's a living area off to the side with a big gas fireplace as the center point. There's a gourmet kitchen in the back corner, and here in the center currently is a massive banquet table set up.
"I hope you're hungry,"
my father says as he crosses the space with a smile on his scarred face.
"Elena's caterer brought enough food to feed half the city."
"I'll drink first, and then I'm starving," I say, hugging him in return when he wraps his arms around me. "I can make that happen," Elena says, with a smile as she walks up with a glass nearly filled to the brim with red liquid. The scent of it alone makes my mouth water. She hands it over with a knowing grin, and I down it like I've been starving for weeks.
"The place looks amazing,"
Roman compliments as his hands slip into his pockets and he observes the space.
"Thanks,"
John accepts as he turns a watchful eye to it all. They step forward and start talking renovations. "Is this really our life?" Elena asks as we watch the men we love walk around. "Renovating homes and going to work and having brunch with our best friends?" "I don't know," I say, the sarcasm creeping into my tone. "There's no bodies on the floor. There's no one breaking down the door, and the sky isn't turning red with bad omens. I think we've accidentally wandered into someone else's story." Elena chuckles and hooks her arm through mine. "This is the Chicago I promised you all that time ago. Sorry it took you so long to show you what it was always supposed to be." "Sorry I jinxed it for so long," I tease her. "You should have known better than to bring this bad luck magnet into your hometown." "I'll bring this bad luck magnet anywhere with me," she says as she presses a kiss to the top of my head. "I love you, Juliet. Bad luck and all." I lean my head on her shoulder and let out a sigh. "I love you too. Thanks for picking me." Footsteps draw my eyes to the stairs, and a huge smile overtakes my face when I see Sigrid and Malcolm step into the room. I cross the space, not hesitating even once as I wrap my favorite aunt in my arms, and I'm filled with the very best sense of peace and love when she embraces me right back. Damn, I've missed you. I breathe out, realizing how painfully, physically, I feel it in my bones. To protect the gifted, the vampires have kept their distance since the party that exposed us all to Orlando. I haven't seen Sigrid in months, except for an hour at Sebastian's funeral, and it's been way too damn long. As I have missed you, my dearest Juliet, she replies, her accent thick and comforting. And I must say, you have never looked happier. That's because I've never been happier, I confirm, as I let go of her and look into those soft blue eyes. No one has tried to kill me in months. She laughs at my dark joke and steps aside as Malcolm, the historian who showed me my past and gave me answers I never had, steps up and embraces me next. Save some for the rest of us, a timid but hopeful voice says from behind. Malcolm releases me, and I find Warren walking up the stairs. Get in here, I say with a grin. I'm filled to the brim. These are the people I love. Friends, family, really, that I haven't seen in far too long. Warren pulls me into a hug that's tighter and stronger than I expected for my gifted cousin. We all turn to the table, and just as we are about to sit, Mason walks up the stairs, his fingers interlaced with Lily's. You know, my brother was never late to anything before he met you, Elena razzes with an arched eyebrow. Nor was his hair ever out of place. Lily blushes so hard her brown skin turns red. Shut up, Elena, Mason growls at his twin as he tries to tame his hair, which is, indeed, very out of place. The two of them make their way to the last seats at the table. He pulls out Lily's chair for her before taking his own. Eat your damn breakfast and mind your own business. Not until you formally announce some news, Elena says, with a very pleased look on her face. Her eyes are fixed on Lily's hand as she reaches for a pitcher of orange juice. I suck in a breath when I see a truly, truly massive diamond ring on her finger. If possible, Lily blushes even harder as she draws her hand back. She glances at Mason, who just looks at her as if the sun rises and sets in her eyes. Mason proposed last night, she says, with the sweetest, most blinding smile. She holds up her hand, looking slightly sheepish over the size of the diamond. Keep 6 weeks from today open, Mason says, looking very smug and satisfied. We're not waiting. 6 weeks, Elena exclaims as she takes the platter John hands over. That doesn't give me near enough time to plan everything. Don't take it personally, sister, but we've got a wedding planner all lined up, Mason says with a teasing look. All you have to do is relax and show up. Pay up, Roman says, and I was just waiting for it. You think I have any places to hide $50 in this dress? I ask him in mock annoyance. Mason's brows furrow. You two made a bet on this? I smile, folding my arms on the table. Yep, and Roman got me beat by about 5 months. Though it's not really fair. He just called it before I could. Mason just chuckles, shaking his head. And it's so damn perfect. So normal. Here I am, with everyone in the world I love most, gathered in my future home. We're all having brunch on a Saturday morning. I'm so proud of this. We worked so hard for it, overcame so much, lost too much, but it was worth it. Every sacrifice, every loss, because this is what I fought for, longed for, my entire reckless, savage, chaotic, wicked, free life. Chapter 21. 7 months later. My heart is beating so fast, even though logically I feel absolutely calm. But the day is finally here. The one we've both been anticipating for the last 3 months since I popped the question. We both know what's going to happen, but considering everything, I don't really like states of limbo, I'd said one stormy afternoon when Roman and I were holed up in his bed at the club. Will you marry me? Roman looked over at me with an arched eyebrow and a smirk on his lips.
Isn't that supposed to be my line?
Well, you're taking way too damn long, and it's a modern age. Who says women can't be the ones to propose? He grinned, sitting up in bed and cupping a hand to the side of my neck.
You couldn't have waited 2 more days. The ring is nearly finished.
He leaned in close, his lips hovering a fraction of a breath away. Really? I asked, a girlish smile trying to take my face over. Roman nodded, his own smile growing on his lips. But the question still hung in the air. I still beat you to it, and I still need an answer. Will you marry me or not? I demanded, feeling all kinds of elated, anxious, and unsettled. A single chuckle escaped Roman's lips. He blinked once, slow, heavy.
Yes, Juliet. I'll marry the hell out of you.
And now here we are. Okay, it's time, Elena says with giddy excitement when she walks back into the bedroom I'm currently using as a bridal room. Everyone is in place. You ready? I roll my shoulders back, smoothing my hands down over the white dress. I nod just once. I'm ready. Elena opens the door, and we step out into the hall. Together, we walk down to the main living area, and there, I find my father, John Bonney, waiting for me. The moment our eyes meet, his redden and well. I smile as I walk to him, watching as his lower lip trembles just slightly. My father is a centuries-old former pirate with a rap sheet a mile long, but seeing his long-lost daughter in a wedding dress brings him to tears.
You look beautiful,
he says as I lean forward and wrap him in an embrace.
And even better, you look so damn happy.
I am, I acknowledge. I hold him tight and revel that this is real life. I never ever would have dreamed that I'd get this, to have you here.
Sebastian might have been a bastard, but I'll forever be grateful for him,
John says as he holds me tightly.
If I hadn't seen your engagement announcement, who knows how much longer it would have taken me to find you.
I nod, and I can only be grateful too. I've had a hard life. Some truly terrible things have happened to me. But now, I'm just grateful for them all because they've led me right here to this moment. How about you walk me down that aisle now? I say quietly. He nods and releases me, wiping at his face. Elena just watches with a smile, love shining in her eyes. She heads up the stairs, and looping my arm through John's, we follow a few steps behind her. I moved out of my apartment last week. Roman is all about the grand reveal, so I've been living on the 2nd floor of the Nocturne until today. I'll get one night in our new home, and then Roman and I will take off for 2 weeks to Argentina for a honeymoon. I'd have loved to go to Europe, but we'll forever have to stay far, far away from the house of Badillo. I take a deep breath when we stop on the landing for the 3rd floor.
You're going to love it,
John promises as we hesitate outside the door.
Roman did an incredible job.
The anticipation is about enough to do me in. I smile, taking a deep breath, and John pulls the door open. If this were any other day, I might notice the incredible beams or the brickwork covering the walls. I might find a perfect and beautiful modern kitchen or the massive dinner table. I'd notice the fireplace that's so big I could nearly stand inside it. But none of that really matters right now. Because straight ahead stands the man I miraculously, unexpectedly, fell in love with. Roman's eyes are so bright and so happy as he looks me up and down, taking in a view that neither one of us ever thought we'd see. Me in a wedding gown, walking down an aisle to him. I drink the sight of him in, and I can't help but chuckle and shake my head. He's wearing black slacks, black shoes, and a black button-up shirt. But He's wearing a white suit jacket, the same shade as his hair. It never grew back into its original color, neither did mine. It's the first time I've ever seen Roman wear white, and he looks absolutely tempting. All our friends turn and look at me, watching with soft smiles. The crowd isn't massive, but neither Roman nor I wanted it any bigger. These are the people who matter to us, the ones we love, the ones we died for and fought side by side with. I walk down the short aisle, my eyes fixed on Roman. My heart beats faster and faster, but I've never felt so 100% sure about anything. And finally, I stand in front of him. John presses a kiss to my cheek and then takes his seat beside Elena. Stars, I love this man. I love his wild white hair. I love those vivid blue eyes. I love that rose tattoo on the side of his neck. I love the danger in his hands and the power in his shoulders. I love the devotion he worships me with. I love the way he's honored all the broken parts of me and the way he's put me together. There are a million unspoken words behind his eyes as Roman studies me. He takes my hands, and just at the contact, every particle in me knows that everything is going to be okay. There are going to be hard times, and there's probably going to be more death and destruction at some point in our lives. But together, we're going to be okay. I feel it in his soul that occupies my own chest. I do not have elaborate words. My beautiful aunt begins. I look to Sigrid, beaming at how perfect she is. She's dressed in an elaborate golden dress and wears a headdress of feathers and bones that make her look every bit the Norwegian priestess she is. And I think if I take too long, the two of them will explode before our very eyes. Everyone in the crowd laughs, and so do I, but damn, she's right. Let's get to the point already, I encourage. She shakes her head in amusement at me. Fate or choice, I believe Juliet and Roman have ended up here as the result of both. Trial and error, neither one of these two have had an easy road. But if I have seen two people more prepared to walk it hand in hand, it is the beautiful people standing right in front of me. Sigrid's words fill me up, and as I look to Roman, meeting his eyes, my own well just a tiny bit. Fate. Choice. She's right. Us standing here today, it's a result of both. Roman, do you vow to be faithful, loyal, and devoted to Juliet through the hard times and the good? To honor her in every choice you make, and to walk by her side as an equal? My heart stops for just a moment as time stands still, as Roman stares into my eyes, and the past replays in my mind, and all the emotions of it fill our bonded soul. Our first dangerous meeting, the first time I saved his life outside of his club, the way he picked me up when no one else saw how I was falling apart, and the love that evolved right in front of our oblivious eyes. I do, Roman says, and everything in me calms. In this life, and my next, and the one after that. I do, Juliet. My smile slowly grows on my face, and it's everything I can do to keep from mauling him right here and now in front of everyone. Instead, I just mouth, I love you. Roman squeezes my hands tighter, and one of those rare as a blue moon smiles pulls on his own lips. Juliet, Sigrid says, and my heart jumps at my turn. Do you vow to be loyal, to be faithful, to be devoted to Roman? Through all the difficulties in life as well as the good, to honor him in all your decisions and to stand at his side as an equal. There's a rising tide in me. It's surging, pushing, buoying, and it's all guiding me to this man standing in front of me. I never thought it would be him standing there, looking at me with so much admiration and love it makes me want to cry. But it's Roman. It was always going to be Roman DeLuca. I do. I say in a confident breath. In every single life, through endless deaths, through every moment, I do. And the smile that breaks on Roman's face cures every bad day I've ever had in my life. It's so light. It's so genuine, so full of hope and love. Then you should kiss, but neither one of us waits for her go-ahead. My hands lace into his hair, and his hands wrap around my waist, crushing all space between us as our lips find their way home. And everything in me feels complete and whole as Roman, my husband, kisses the breath out of me. I declare you husband and wife, Sigrid bestows with absolute joy. The world doesn't disappear around us as Roman dips me back, kissing me like his very life depends on it. I'm grounded, right here, in this perfect moment. Everyone I love stands around us, each of them celebrating the triumph of love conquering all, even death. Over and over, I'll risk it all, for everyone here. But especially this man cradling me in his arms. Over and over, I choose Roman. The end. This has been Born Free, Blood Rose Nights Book 5, written by Keary Taylor, narrated by Raven Wildwood. Copyright 2023 by Keary Taylor. Production copyright by Keary Taylor.